as a performer, you have all these dreams. Every performer pretty much has the same checklist of things that they want to accomplish. It's perform on the Thanksgiving Day parade, perform at the Tonys, um, be on an original cast album.
Today on Rainbow Country, queering reality TV with Tommy Bracco, Broadway performer, reality TV personality, husband.
Hi, I'm Christopher Rice, and this is Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
Tommy Bracco, hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are more than welcome. You are more than welcome. I am well. I'm even better now that I have you on uh, to talk about all things you, and you. Okay, you are a dancer. You are an actor, a Broadway performer, a reality TV personality. You're also a husband. But let's
Yes,
start
I am.
but let's start here. The performing arts. Let's go back to the beginning. How did you originally get introduced to, how did you fall in love with the performing arts, whether that was dancing, singing, acting? How did you get introduced to the performing arts originally?
So when I was younger, I always had like a knack for the theatrics, but I didn't really have any examples of any performers in my life. I mostly found my love for performing in school, in after school programs, in during school programs. I was in the drama class in school and we were doing the school plays, and it was my teachers that encouraged me to continue down that road. And that gave me the courage that I could actually do it as a career, which was amazing. So my teachers kind of changed my life. It's amazing.
Was that during your time attending a high school for the performing arts?
Yeah, it started actually when I was in junior high school, I would say. I had this teacher named Miss Stein, and she really believed in me, and she helped me prepare for the audition for high school, for the high school performing arts. I wound up auditioning, getting in. I attended there for 4 years of high school, commuted from Staten Island. So I would wake up at 5 in the morning every single day, take a 2 hour commute into Manhattan, go to school. And our school day was very long. It was from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. I would commute home, get home at 6 p.m., and go right to dance school. And I would dance until sometimes 11 at night, go home, go to bed at midnight, and wake up 5 hours later and do it all over again. So during high school, I was training for sure with no like ultimate goal. At that point, my goal was not to perform for a living. I was just loving it. I was just having a good time. And then my teachers at LaGuardia, Miss Faison, Mr. L, they were the ones that really gave me the courage to perform for a living. And it was great. Very grateful.
So, hey, teachers, the power of
Yeah.
teachers. So,
Yeah.
at what point did you make the decision to start putting yourself out there, to start auditioning for things like musicals, eventually ending up on Broadway? At what point did you start putting yourself out there then? If when you were in school, you weren't necessarily thinking that you would end up doing that.
Yeah. So during my senior year of high school, I was in the show City of Angels. And when I did that show, I got bit by the bug. I loved it. I had the best time. I had a really fun part. So I was like, getting all the laughs from the audience. And for me, it's always been about the relationship, the energy, the electricity between an audience and a performer. I'm addicted to that electricity, that connection. So when I did that show and I felt that energy, it kind of changed my whole life. That's when I was like, that's when I started to pivot and think, maybe I could do this. That paired with my teachers believing in me and pushing me is what I needed. Um, But up until then, it was just recreational. I just loved it. I had a good time, but I thought I was going to be an architect. That's what I thought I was going to do. And then after high school, I just started auditioning and I was booking work. And it took me, I wound up leaving. I went to one semester of college. I went to Marymount Manhattan College. I have so many fun stories. So sorry, I go on tangents sometimes, but this is another fun story. I auditioned for Marymount Manhattan College, their theater program, and I did not get in. I still went to their school though for like just general ed credits. And I was auditioning simultaneously while I was in my first semester. I wound up booking work and I left school to go do Guys and Dolls in Arizona. It was a random 2 month job and I fell in love with it. I wound up continuing to audition and book work. So I was doing well. I went back and auditioned again for Marymount's college program, the theater program. I got in the next year, but I didn't go. I said no. I just wanted to prove to them that they made a mistake the first time around. But then once I got in, I said no, sayonara, sorry, and I continued to audition, book work, and then shortly after I made my Broadway debut doing Newsies. So it really all worked out. But that's a fun little story. It's like a testament to who I am. I'm very much, oh, you don't want me? I'll prove to you that you're wrong. And then I don't want you anyway. Like that's who I am. So I just think that's like a fun story that really encompasses who I am.
Don't cross the Bracco.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
So you just mentioned it, inspired by the real life newsboys strike of 1899 in New York City, Newsies. 2011, was this your Broadway debut then, being on Newsies?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And so what was that experience like being on Broadway? Not necessarily thinking that you wanted to be on Broadway at some point, but ending up being on Broadway. What was that experience like for you, generally speaking?
It was a dream come true. Like if as a performer you have all these dreams, every performer pretty much has the same checklist of things that they want to accomplish. It's perform on the Thanksgiving Day parade, perform at the Tonys, um, be on an original cast album. With Newsies, we got to check every one of those boxes. So like truly this experience made every dream come true. We felt like rock stars. Every single night we would come out of the stage door and there would be hundreds of people screaming their heads off for us. It was this was at the time when Instagram had just come out. So the times were changing. Social media was becoming a mainstream part of Broadway. And we were right there at the forefront for this, I would say, ever change. It's a moment that kind of is now still to this day a major part of Broadway and the industry. And we were there at the turn of it. So it felt very cool, very humbling. I think when you're in it, it's easy to become a little numb. I was also very young. So like I said, I'm from Staten Island, so I was commuting 2 hours there and back every single night. After the show, I would run out of the stage door, run to the train, take the ferry, and commute 2 hours home. I wouldn't even really do the stage door often. Now I wish I could go back and do that stage door because it would be so fun to connect with those people. But at the time, I was kind of just like numb to it all. I was young and you don't really appreciate it till it's gone, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was incredible. It was.
So we have 2011 Newsies. We have 2018 Pretty Woman, the musical.
Yep.
Talk to me about being a Broadway performer and the discipline that it takes and how challenging it is, or maybe it can be. For yourself, how was that? Like, how disciplined did you have to be? And you just gave us an example, like you have to run out the door and get home, essentially to get, to be able to make it home. How disciplined did you have to be while you were on Broadway?
Yeah. Well, funny enough, when I was doing Newsies, we were so young, we didn't even really have to warm up. That was the crazy part. Actually, I can only speak for myself. A lot of people would do the right thing and warm their bodies up, but I wouldn't. I would literally just show up, do a bunch of back handsprings before the show, and I would be good to go. Let's go. But the funny part is, and Newsies had some of the most difficult dancing, I think, that has to this day been on Broadway ever. And I would do it and my body would feel fine. I was totally good, golden. My body was used to it. The muscle memory was amazing. I would go to a dance class and we would dance nowhere near as difficult as what we were doing in Newsies. And I wouldn't be able to move the next day. Like muscle memory is such a thing. And I definitely relied on it a lot during that time when I went, but this is the thing. Sorry, the initial tangent again. The initial question was, uh, what do I do to like upkeep when, to be on Broadway? How do you, be disciplined? The truth is, when you book a Broadway show, that's when you're actually on vacation. The job is staying ready, staying prepared for when the audition does come up that you can book the show. Auditioning is the job, not booking the job. So right now, like, well, also the industry has changed so much too. Like I used to have like, 5 auditions a week if I wanted. Now I'll get 5 every 6 months. Like it's very different. So I think that's partially because the industry is changing, partially because I'm getting older, but it's interesting to see the shift in my career as time has gone on, for sure. So I did 3 Broadway shows: Newsies, Pretty Woman, and The Heart of Rock and Roll. And all of them, Newsies was 2011, 2012, around there. It came out and it went till like 2014. Pretty Woman was 2018 to 2019. And then Heart of Rock and Roll was 2024. So you can see there's a lot of gaps in there. There's a lot of times when you're not working as a Broadway performer and you have to love your life even when you're not performing. Otherwise, you will be miserable because a lot of being a Broadway performer is not working. The that's just the harsh reality of it. So you have to love your life even when you're not on stage. And when you're on stage, it's an added bonus. Yeah. Anyway, another tangent. I apologize.
Well,
I digress.
there's a show, Titanic.
Yes,
Were you
yes.
were you involved in this?
I was. I did Titanic off Broadway before it moved to Broadway, and I had the best time. It was so great. Amazing show, amazing creative team. I really respect that they took a risk and did something different, and I was honored to be a part of it. Uh, so yes, I did the show off Broadway. That happened immediately after the Heart of Rock and Roll. So that was 2025-ish. Yeah.
So, Tommy, we're here. We're talking about you. We're talking about you as a performer, specifically as a Broadway performer. You're also a reality TV personality. You've been on shows like The Challenge, uh, Big Brother US, season 21, reality TV, Broadway reality TV. Do you have a preference?
I don't have a preference. What I like to say is, or what I've learned over the years, Broadway tests what you can do, and reality TV tests who you are. And the bottom line is, I like to be tested. I like to be challenged. I like having to rise to the occasion. So I like them both equally. I think the interesting part is that growing up in this industry when I was younger, there was a stigma with reality TV, and I think that I was led to believe that you couldn't do both. And I kind of feel like I proved that stigma to be wrong. And I don't know if it's just I think it's the industry has changed. I think that uh, something like it sounds so silly, but like when you go on reality TV, you come off with followers on social media, and followers and social media matters more in the Broadway space than it did than it did more than ever. So um, I've learned that now instead of there being a stigma, they can actually fuel each other, which is the my perfect scenario because I really love both Broadway and reality TV.
Well, let's talk about your time on Big Brother specifically, because I
Hmm.
love the show. I think you love the show. A lot of people love the
Yeah.
show. Big Brother is a show like no other. We have Big Brother Canada, was on for, I believe, like 12 seasons. It's coming back in 2027. Uh, Big Brother US has been running since 2000. And I think what makes the show, uh, you know, stand up above the rest is the fact that it's in real time. You have
Hmm.
24-hour live feeds that you can actually see how basically how the show is made, because out of that live feed, the episodes are created. And it runs basically like 3 months, that sort of thing. You were on Big Brother 21, I believe in 2019. You finished fifth. Well done to you.
Thanks.
Again, a general question. How was your experience, generally speaking, on Big Brother 21?
So I loved Big Brother. Like it was my ultimate dream. When I first watched the show, I felt like I was meant to be on it. I really did. I just got a weird feeling and I knew that I was like it was for me. I felt it. And you have so many dreams as a super fan. You want to get a punishment, you want to win HOH, you want to win a veto, you want to play these iconic comps. I got to check every bucket list item off. I really did, except for winning. That's it. So like when I was there, it was a dream come true, truly. And I still look back on it and I'm so grateful for the experience. What I did not expect was to come off of the show and be faced with as much adversity as I was. And at the time, it was very overwhelming. But now I look back on that time and I'm so grateful for it because it really made me grow as a person. And I am that's something that like I will carry with me as a person for the rest of my life. So Big Brother changed me, and that's something. Yeah, maybe I didn't win, but that's a gift that I'll take with me for forever.
Adversity in what regard?
There was so much. I mean, Big Brother. There's always controversy with Big Brother. So obviously, my season we faced a lot of it, and that's what I'm referencing.
Mm. Okay, so let's talk about uh, being gay on reality TV. You recently put out a post on your socials, essentially talking
Yes.
about specifically Big Brother and how there have not been any, say, gay masterminds when it comes to the show. Uh, Although I will say, Andy Herron, who won his season openly gay, he wasn't necessarily portrayed as a mastermind on the episodes, but you would realize that if you watch the live feeds, which is basically how the show is made, you would see him doing certain things and, being a bit of a rat or not, or however you viewed him.
Yep.
Talk to me about what you were getting at with your post on socials.
Well, I think you just hit the nail on the head. The edits don't show a gay person being a mastermind ever. Andy comes very close. We're talking edit wise, the episodes. That's what I'm referencing. If you watch the live feeds, you know the truth. You know that Andy was a mastermind. He was a genius player. He maneuvered his
But he doesn't
way.
have that reputation, which is
He
interesting.
doesn't. And I don't think it's a coincidence. No gay person has that reputation, but a lot of straight white men do. And I don't think that's a coincidence either. I think that there's an issue with representation within the editing of these reality TV shows. And I've thought this for a while, but I'm finally like, this is a conversation that I feel very passionate about. I just think that it can't be a coincidence that all of our masterminds are not gay men. It just can't be. We know that there have been mastermind gay men players, or not even just gay men, gay people on the show. They have been there have been really great gay players, but they're just never portrayed that way. That's the bottom line. They're a lot of times the gay person. First of all, there's only one per season. A lot of times, and they are the token gay. They're the funny one. They're the dramatic one.
Exactly. So
And they're the comedic relief. Go ahead.
exactly. That's what I was going to say to you. Do you think that, because this is on CBS, specifically
Mhm.
Big Brother, and it's on broadcast, one of the major networks in the US,
Mhm.
CBS, a broadcast network.
Mhm.
Uh, and when they do cast a gay person, a lot of times those people tend to be, and I don't necessarily want to use this term, but they tend to be the court gesture. They tend to
That's
be
yes.
the funny
Mhm.
one. They tend to be,
Mhm.
the life of the party I'm generalizing, but for the most part. But they're not sexual beings. There's that I think it's a biblical
Mhm.
saying, uh, love the sinner, hate the sin. Right?
Mm.
It's like love the sinner, hate the sin. You can be gay, but just don't do gay things, essentially.
Mhm.
And
Oh yeah.
so on reality TV, like a Big Brother, we rarely see gay men flirting with each other, or a gay person, openly in a showmance with another male, or even like a woman on with a woman. It rarely happens. And so why do you think that is, that it rarely happens on reality TV? And in this case, we're talking about Big Brother.
I think that it's very nuanced, this conversation, because I think it really all comes down to money. Um, the main audience that watches Big Brother are people from Middle America, and they may not be ready to um, have these conversations. They may not be as accepting. The truth of the matter is, I'm from New York City, so everyone in my world is very accepting, but that's not the world that we live in necessarily, and that's not who watches Big Brother. A lot of times, uh, you go to these big cities, LA, New York, Chicago,
They're
and
bubbles.
yeah, they're bubbles. And I don't meet Big Brother fans there. But if I go to, when I go to Disney World, the amount of Big Brother fans that I meet, and that's because people from all over the country travel to Disney World. That's who's watching Big Brother. So the network has to cater to their audience because that's how they make money through advertising. So while I, this is like that, with all this said, I don't think it's any one entity's fault for this issue. I think it's an issue that exists, but I think that like the network has advertisers that they have to cater to, but they're also trying to move the needle in terms of society and acceptance. And we saw the cookout in season 23 was the first time that we had a black winner. That's not a coincidence. But that's because black people weren't set up for success until that moment.
Well, there were a
And
number of cast members that were part of that community. And maybe they were cast specifically to see if this would happen.
and it did.
Yes.
And so it's all very nuanced. It is because I don't know what it's like to be in those board meetings and have to deal with the money of it all, the advertisers, the high profile conversations that these networks are having. I don't understand that whole world. I don't pretend to get that, but I do know what it's like to be a gay man on these shows and be the example, be the jester. It's funny you say that because that's exactly what I call it too. I feel like a court jester. Um, and I hope that that changes because there's so much more to gay people than just being the funny sidekick. Like
I don't think
it's
the show RuPaul's Drag Race, while
yep.
it's a great platform for drag performers, I don't necessarily know if that helps move the needle either, because I think a lot of people are seeing members of the LGBT community, gay men, in that certain light, as drag
Uh-huh.
queens, that sort of thing, and I don't, as opposed to LGBT people that are sexual beings. We're not seeing that necessarily, unless you're talking about a movie or, a TV show, that sort of thing. But do you see things changing? Do you see reality TV evolving to be more, I don't want to say inclusive because it's pretty inclusive currently, but being more that queer people can be the masterminds and maybe even win some of these
I
shows.
hope so. That is my goal with uh, putting out a video like I did. My goal is to try and move the needle, to at least get people thinking. Because I look back at my time on Big Brother, I went 79 days without ever hitting the block. I won three different competitions. I did really well and I played a great game and I'm very proud of the game that I played. But if you watch the season, you're just going to think of me as the funny guy that got backstabbed. But in reality, there was so much more to it. Like, and not that I'm a mastermind by any means. If I was a mastermind, I would have won. But I played a great game and that wasn't portrayed. And I just think that that's interesting. So maybe this is all fueled by self experience. I hope that the world starts to open their eyes and have these conversations more. It's tough. Like when you watch a show like Big Brother, you are looking for representation to find yourself in that house. And so if majority of the people that are watching are from middle America, are white people, um, then I get why the network would want to give their audience more um, representation
More of
that they
themselves.
could more of themselves.
Mhm.
I don't think that that's the answer because that's how we make things change by challenging people, by
Mm.
making them maybe even uncomfortable.
Exposure.
Exposure, 100%. But I do think that that's the reality of what has been going on the reality, no pun intended. I think that's what's been going on since the beginning of reality TV. And I hope that it changes. I really do. Yeah.
Tommy, before I let you go, who is Joseph Mackley?
My husband. Yeah, he's the best. I love him.
How
We're
did you
very
guys
lucky.
meet?
We met on Hinge. He's amazing. He's great. He's my perfect balance. I'm crazy, I'm outgoing, I'm wild, and he is the calm to my storm. He is the cross his T's, dot his I's kind of guy, where I am just a scribble scrabble. And it works. We bring out the best in each other, and I'm very grateful for that.
And how long have you guys been married?
We got married last year. We got
Mm.
married a little over a year ago.
2025?
Yes, we're looking to have a family now. So we're working on that. And yeah, I'm very lucky, very lucky.
Well, Tommy Bracco, I have to say, well said, well done, well reality TV'd and Broadway'd.
Thanks.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.